Got a bit too much head on that one, but it's a good looking beer. And yes, I'm drinking another beer in a video because we're going to be talking about one of my favorite places to go while in Germany or Europe, specifically Germany. But that's a beer garden. I love a good beer garden, sitting outside in a nice warm weather, having a nice German beer. This isn't a German beer. This is a local beer from Arizona. Tasty, but not like a German beer. And, as much fun as beer gardens are, having a good time with a group of friends or family, apparently there's some things that you should not do at a beer garden. And that is today's video, what not to do in a beer garden. So let's get into the video.
On the third day of Christmas, my true love gave to me 3 big beers.
Prost, fellow travelers. Mark here with Walter's World, and today we're at the beer garden here in Freiburg. And today what I'll give you is a fun don'ts video on some of the don'ts of going to beer gardens in Germany. And I'll be honest with you, don't pass up a beer garden because it's a fun experience. But there are some do's and don'ts you should know when you're here. And I think one of the important things about going to a beer garden is you need to realize is don't expect them to come serve you. Now, they might pick up your used glasses or something, but don't expect them to come by. You're going to have to go up there and get in line and order your beer there and carry it back. So if you're going to order a lot of stuff for a lot of people, you're going to need helpful hands because people aren't going to be helping you. So that's the first thing you need to know. Now, another don't I have for you.
That is entirely true. I've been to a few, even Oktoberfest. While I didn't experience the full Oktoberfest experience because I got tired of standing in line for an hour waiting to get into a beer tent that my wife and I just left, and actually went to the Hofbrauhaus down the street and had beer there. In a place like that, they actually did come to the table outside and bring us the beer. But typically in these smaller beer gardens and whatnot, yeah, you would go up, order a beer, and then take it back to the table.
Is don't think you just drink these huge 1-liter beers, these mosses of beer. Don't think that's what you do at a beer garden usually. Usually you might have a smaller beer there, or you can drink, my mom's having some wine that's here, so you can actually have non-beer at beer gardens. Kids are welcome, they have soda, they have all kinds of snacks, they have a lot of stuff. So don't think it's just a big old beer garden. No, you go there to enjoy. And I think it's also important to note that don't think the beer garden's a place you just go and get drunk at. Beer gardens are for...
Okay, let me back up. So yeah, there are a lot of other drinks that you can get at a beer garden, even alcohol-free beer. I know not the last time that my wife and I went to Germany, but the time before that when all 4 of us went to Germany, my brother-in-law and my son and I took a motorcycle trip to another little town, back road. I can't wait to get my motorcycle over there. Twisty little back roads. Went to a little beer garden and we actually had a couple non-alcoholic beers. So my son had actually a Coke, I think. But yeah, beer garden with the big liters of beer. You can get this size. I think that might be half a liter, not sure. You can get smaller glasses, just the normal actual beer glass size, German style. A lot of things you can actually get at a beer garden, along with some food, pretzels and things like that. Back up.
Don't think the beer garden's a place you just go and get drunk at. Beer gardens are for friends and families to get together and just spend some time together outside, take it in the beautiful nature. Cities like Freiburg were just gorgeous. I have this beautiful view of the city behind me. I'm here with my mom. We're just having some drinks, relaxing, and enjoying ourselves. It's not like nightclub and knock them down till you're done. No, that is not how it rolls here. But I will say, if you are going to be drinking here, don't forget to eat something.
Okay, yeah, so it isn't a place, like I just said, it's nice to go with family or friends just to chill and relax. Obviously, you go to Oktoberfest or those big, the point isn't to get drunk at those either, but it happens more often, I think. Maybe because there's a lot more tourists at that and they want to just drink. And then, you know, if they aren't used to the alcohol content of German beers, which can typically be a bit higher than maybe what they're used to in the United States, especially if they're a Budweiser drinker or something like that. You know, they have a liter or two of German beer and they're feeling it, right? So I'm well beyond my days of going out to get drunk. That was never really. No, I take that back. There were times in the military where on a Friday, some of us would say, I am getting drunk this weekend just because of the week we had. But going to, you know, beer fest, it's a social gathering, right? It's not the nightclub. It's not a, you know, somewhere where that's typically where, you know, you're getting really drunk at. Families are there. You need to behave yourself. You can't be belligerent or loud. But, you know, after a few German beers, yeah.
Rolls here. But I will say, if you are going to be drinking here, don't forget to eat something.
And
now,
I did mention
you can
the food.
bring your food to the beer gardens. A lot of them are more than happy for you to make your own picnic while you're here. You're just buying their beer. That's fine. But some of them will actually have food. Like here, they've got bratwurst, they've got Kartoffelsalat or potato salad. There's pretzels. I mean, pretzels are one of the biggest things you're going to see in beer gardens everywhere. So that's a good thing to kind of soak up a little of that beer while you're here. And another thing I think is important is don't think there's just one kind of beer when you.
Yeah, so I mentioned it earlier, the pretzels, the potato salad, the bratwurst, you know, any of that. Nothing goes better with a beer than, you know, a brat, pretzel, Kartoffelsalat, you know, any of those. It really makes a difference, especially if you're not used to drinking liters of beer.
Soak up a little of that beer while you're here. And another thing I think is important is don't think there's just one kind of beer when you go to a beer garden. Now, you could go to a beer garden that's sponsored by a brewery, so it'll be their beer, but usually they'll have multiple beers. So you might have a Weizen beer or a wheat beer. You might have a Pilsner, or you might have a Schwarzbier, a black beer. There's lots of different kind of beers you can have in lots of different sizes. So that's why sometimes going to a beer garden gives you a nice opportunity to kind of experiment with some of the other beers that are here in Germany or other places where you partake in your beer garden fun. Now, as anyone knows, if you drink a lot of beer, you're going to have to, you know, go potty occasionally. And my next don't for you is don't forget to bring some coins with you, because if you go to the bathroom, some of them, there's these Toilettenfrauen, the toilet women that clean the bathrooms, and so you leave them a tip. Some places actually make you pay to go to the bathroom, so good to have some of these small coins there so you can go, because I don't know how long I can keep 1 liter of beer inside of me, let alone 2 or 3. So have those coins to help you out. Now, one of my favorite.
Okay, so I think that could be true just about anywhere you go in Germany, not just a beer garden, but especially a beer garden, because you're drinking beer, and yes, you're going to need to go maybe more frequently than you normally would. But I have found that going over there, just having you know, a few 50-cent pieces in the pocket or €1 pieces in the pocket, because you never know when you're going to need to go. And typically the majority of the restrooms, you're going to need to either pay to even use it or leave a tip. And come on, always leave a tip. It's 50 cents or even $1. That's nothing to be able to use a clean facility.
Side of me, let alone 2 or 3. So have those coins to help you out. Now, one of my favorite parts of coming to beer gardens is the fact that you get to meet all kinds of people when you're here. And I want to tell you this. Don't be afraid to meet strangers when you're at a beer garden, because all these benches that are here, you'll see there's people sitting over there, and it's pretty empty right now, but it's going to fill up. And so the other places on our bench are going to get filled, and we might meet other travelers. We might meet locals when we're here, but you got to be open to letting people sit at your table, because it's not just yours, it's anybody that wants to sit there, but also gives you a chance to meet people and learn from other people. And it's kind of a fun thing, because we've made friends with locals all over the world just going to beer gardens and sitting there and sharing beers and stories. And so it's kind of fun. And that's why I want to tell you is don't forget to bring a little something to play.
Okay, so this aspect of beer garden, Germany in general, I think, or maybe even Europe in general, is that no, you don't have a table for 2 or a table for 4 and you're the only one sitting there. They have these large picnic bench style tables, picnic tables, and you sit with multiple different people. And a quick story, I remember the first time I went to Munich and went to the Hofbräuhaus. It was my wife and I. We went there for my birthday when we were still dating. So this was, 26 years ago or so. But that was really my first experience seeing this for the first time. And it kind of caught me off guard, to be honest. I wasn't expecting to sit down at a large table with a bunch of other people sitting there. It felt weird to me because I wasn't used to that environment. But it turned out to be one of the best times I've ever had. We got to meet, I think, somebody from Austria, somebody from France, Germany, of course. And it was kind of funny because we were eating brats. And one of them, the Austrian or German or, one of those two, told us we were doing it wrong, so he showed us how to properly eat whatever the brat was that we were eating. I don't even remember, it's been so long, what brat we were having, but he wanted to show us the proper way. And we ended up sitting there for hours just chatting and talking, and they spoke broken English. My wife was speaking German. There's somebody from France. You get along so well. And here in the U.S., I think we're so stuck on this is mine. This is my table. Nobody else can sit here. I don't want to talk to anybody else. I don't want to, converse with anybody else. And over there, it's so different, especially at beer gardens. Granted, if you go to a normal restaurant, you're going to have a table for your party or whatever. But beer gardens are so unique in the fact that you get all these people from every country just about. And you can all just have a great time. Even if you don't all speak the same language, you end up understanding each other, especially after a couple liters of beer. You end up understanding what others are saying. So it's probably one of the things I miss the most about Germany is just these little fests, these little beer gardens. It doesn't even have to be a fest. It's just a beer garden on a weekend. You show up, nice day. We don't have little kids anymore, so we don't have to watch for them or keep them entertained. So my wife and I can have just a good time, conversations with others at the table, and you get to learn so much about other people and where they come from. And that's one of my greatest things. I have the most fun just hearing other people's stories, where they came from, the differences in our cultures and what they think is weird about me being an American. And it's just the best time in the world.
Stories, and so it's kind of fun, and that's why I want to tell you is don't forget to bring a little something to play when you're here. I've seen people bring board games. We always bring a pack of cards so we can play. I mean, Uno is a great one because it doesn't matter if you're old, young, you speak a language or not, everybody understands how to play Uno, and so it gives you a chance to actually meet locals. So don't be afraid of the people at the beer garden, to talk to them and get to know them. Now another
I've never taken a game to a beer garden. Maybe that's something I should do one of the next times we're there, or once we move there, is take a deck of cards. Because like you said, Uno or any of these other, typically worldwide games, people are going to know how to play, even if they don't speak the same language. But I've never, usually we're there to just drink and have a good time and can have a good conversation. But I have a little travel pack of cards. They're slim, so they're easily fit in your pocket. Maybe we'll take those next time and play. Even if you're by yourself, you can start playing solitaire. And believe it or not, so it's a Newton's law, not Newton, law of the universe, I guess, that as soon as you start playing solitaire, somebody's going to be over your shoulder telling you, you can put that card over here and put that card over here. So running joke of if you ever get lost, always have a deck of cards, start playing solitaire, somebody will be right there to tell you what card to play. So then you're saved.
To tell you about is the fond. Now, I have a small drink here. This is no big deal. There's no fond. There's no deposit on this glass. But on this glass, I had to pay an extra $5 fund, which is a deposit. And when I'm finished, I take it back with my coin, and then they'll give me my €5 back. Okay, so if you have a big group of people and you're ordering for them, you're all getting these big beers. I mean, I've been at places where we've had 8 people and it's €5 a person. It was €40 in fund. And you're like, oh, I didn't bring all that cash with me. Yeah, so make sure you realize that fund, you're going to take it back and get your money back, okay? Also, another thing I would say is, don't think you always have to have cash.
Okay, so that is true, and that's something even today, as many times as I've been to a beer garden and things like that, it slips my mind. I don't think about it. A funny story again, going back to our first time to Munich to the Hofbräuhaus, is that I really like those big liter glasses, so I kind of stuck a couple in my backpack as we were leaving. Unbeknownst to me that they were going to search my bag on the way out, I figured, hey, I paid the extra money for this, so if I didn't bring it back, it's no big deal, because that's kind of why they do that. They want you to bring the glass back. But the guard or the security dude, I think I took 3 because I was going to send one back home and whatnot. I think he found 1 or 2 of them, but not all of them. So I kept one. But yeah, don't do that. Just get your deposit back. But that is something that I still fail to remember, that you pay a little bit extra up front so that you do bring that glass back.
Okay. Also, another thing I would say is, don't think you always have to have cash, but it does help if you have cash when you go to the beer gardens, because it's faster to pay, faster to walk out. They're used to that, so that's not a problem. Now, you can sit pretty much anywhere when you go to a beer garden, but I will say this. Don't sit at a Stammtisch if it's already taken. If you're not sure what a Stammtisch is, those are basically seats or tables that are reserved for a certain group of people. They may have paid to have that table. They may have gone to that table for 50 years, and so they get that table anytime they want. If you're at a Stammtisch and those people show up, you've got to get up. You can't be like, well, I've already got my beer. No, that's their Stammtisch. That's theirs. That is a German thing. Like, you cannot mess with somebody's Stammtisch, so don't, okay? So you'll see sometimes they'll have like a little schild, a little sign at the end of the table noting that. In beer gardens, it doesn't happen all the time. A lot of the beer halls, you have that, but just something just in case you might want to be aware of. Now, another thing you need to...
Don't think I ever came across a Stammtisch. Either that or I just didn't pay attention to a table that had a sign on it.
Remember is when you're cheersing here in Germany, you always make sure you make eye contact when you cheers, because if you don't, it's 7 years of bad luck, let's say. All right, so cheers or Prost when you're here.
Prost.
So we have that. Another thing I think...
And let me ask the German audience, do you, when you Prost, do you tap it on the table and then take a drink? Because that's the way we've done it. And it might be an area thing or a family thing. I don't know. But I was always taught, not always taught, but being over there when I met my wife, she told me, you know, you clink glasses, Prost, tap it on the table and take a drink. We do that today still. Even here in the U.S., if we're out drinking or out for dinner and we have a couple beers, we'll do that. We'll tap it on the table, take a drink. And it's kind of funny because we'll look at the other person like, are you going to tap it? And then if one person taps it, the other one taps it. So is that a thing as well? Is that a normal thing, or is that just where my wife's from thing? I don't know. Let me know down in the comments.
I think is wonderful about beer gardens is don't think they're just for adults. Beer gardens really are for everyone. You can come here with Oma and Opa, Grandma and Grandpa. You can come here with your kids. This is a fun thing. Like, you'll see kids playing around in the background, maybe playing ball, or they're playing cards. Our boys have been here, sitting right over there, playing tops. I mean, it's one of the nice things about Germany is that the drinking isn't a stigma. Like, you can go out with your family and have a beer. I'll see couples coming here with their little kids just for a drink or two and go on their way. It's for everybody. Don't think it's just for people that want to knock down beers and get crazy. No, that does not happen here. Like, knock down beers, yes, but you don't get crazy. This is much more of a calm thing, and I think that's why it's important to mention. Don't
Okay, so let me go back because I think they just tapped it on the table.
just for people that want to knock down beers and get crazy.
Like
No,
that. So is that must be a thing, right? And like you said, families. A lot of these places also have playgrounds that are attached or that are right outside there, so the kids can go play on the playground and the adults are having a good time. That's one thing I've noticed about Germany, and I just watched a video from Type Ashton earlier today who went over a list of places that you wouldn't really think would be kid friendly, and they are. So a lot of these places do have areas for kids, games for kids, a playground for kids. I think Germany is very family oriented. It's not separated. It's not like here in the United States where if you go out drinking, you can't take your kids because they're not 21, they can't get in. You're not taking your 6 and 7-year-old or even 18-year-old to a pub or to, I don't even know if beer gardens would be a huge thing. They are in some places, but I guess it depends on the law where you are, but drinking in public is a no-no here. So yeah, completely different mindset.
I think that's why it's important to mention. Don't think the beer gardens go late night, because the beer gardens a lot of times are in residential areas, and since they're in residential areas, there's residents there that want to go to sleep at night, and the beer gardens really tailor to their locals, and so they know that we don't want to upset our locals late in the night because they got to go to work tomorrow or they've got other things to do. So don't expect the beer gardens to be open much past maybe 9 or 10 o'clock at night, because they will close down. And also, don't expect the beer gardens to be open in the winter, okay? Because I've had people that have asked us that. Are the beer gardens open all year round? No, but there are other times you can actually drink outside, and that's the Christmas markets, but that's a little bit different, okay? So what are some of the don'ts you have for beer gardens, or some of the do's of some of the beer gardens you've been to? And let us know, what are some of your favorite beer gardens in the world so we can go to? Because we've had so many great experiences in beer gardens over the world with and without alcohol. It does happen. So I wish you all the best and have a great time. And Prost from here in Freiburg, Germany.
That was a fun video. I enjoyed that one. One big don't that I would have is don't be obnoxious. Don't be loud. Like he said, they aren't places for you to go to get drunk. They're go to socialize, have a good time, have a good conversation, maybe play some card games. So don't get all loud and obnoxious. You know if you can't handle your alcohol, and if you can't, just avoid the beer gardens, because you're going to make a scene, you're going to look foolish, other people are going to get mad at you. So please just be respectful of others. Enjoy the time that you have there, enjoy the weather, enjoy the conversation and the company. Be open to talking with other people. I love beer gardens. I wish we had more here. Now, in the wintertime, true, they aren't necessarily open, especially if it's a dedicated, like, outdoor only beer garden. But there are some that will have, and maybe this is more just an attachment to a pub or something, but an outdoor area. So that's probably technically not a beer garden, because a garden would be outside, obviously. So I do like Walter's World videos a lot. He does a good job. He's funny, lighthearted videos. So make sure you go check out his channel. Subscribe to him if you'd like. Subscribe to me if you'd like. Give me a thumbs up and let me know down below if you have any good stories about beer gardens or where an excellent beer garden would be. We are planning on going back to Germany in September, October, somewhere in there. So yes, Oktoberfest time, but we aren't going to be going to Munich. But there should be other fests around. It's my wife's niece's wedding. She's getting married, so we will be back there. So let me know any cool beer gardens you've been to, and thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed it, and until next time, I'll catch you later. Bye.